Hey friends, I'm here. I just thought I would hop back on live because honestly, it really took a long time for me to get my hair up like this, and so you got to get the most out of it. So anyways, if y'all want to talk about things, we can talk about them. Oh, somebody has called in. Oh, also, I have turned on the badges feature. It's a new thing from Instagram. It's like super chats on YouTube. So, oh, multiple people have called in. Oh, okay.
Hi,
Hi.
hi. I'm I watch your YouTube and I read some of your articles and I think it's very inspiring. This is for Harriet, Natalie. This is my twin sister. Hi.
Hi.
Um, I'm just calling in because I recently heard about. Thanks, Natalie. I recently heard about the disappointment of Amy Coney Barrett being rushed into the Supreme Court. I low-key feel lost and very hopeless now because I recently voted obviously for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. I don't really like Joe Biden, but that's not about that now. I'm sorry. Um so I'm just really glad because I just feel at crossroads. I just feel so lost because I just feel that humanity is lost. I just honestly think that the US is looking like a joke at this point. You know,
Yeah, it
it
is. No, I mean, look, shit is bad. Like, like I definitely cried yesterday. I mean, shit is bad. I mean, I don't know how to say. Okay, so the truth is that shit is bad, but what are the options? Are we gonna just, forfeit everything and like give up and just be like, well, shit is bad. Like, I'm not gonna do shit anymore. And then shit gets worse for your children and your nieces and your cousins and like or are you going to try to resist fascism? Are you going to try to resist the terrorism that white supremacist capitalist patriarchy brings, right? Like those are our only options at this point. And like
yeah.
I'm okay with taking some moments to acknowledge how bad shit looks, but like that can't be the end, because I'm 30, right? I'm 31. I still have to live. My nieces still have to live. Like, what comes next?
Honestly, it's just me getting my education and looking forward to life. I recently graduated this year, and I just felt very lost because I honestly didn't felt like I graduated high school, to be honest, because Trump really did us dirty. He really knew from when. He didn't want to control it. He wanted to sweep it under a rug like a regular corrupt businessmen do. That's how he's treating us, and I don't really let that. I try not to let that bother me, but at the same time, I'm more keeping my eyes open to what comes next, and I'm just trying to see what I do from there. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I can be grateful for 2020 because I have two sisters that are very accepting of me because I recently came out as pansexual.
Oh, okay. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Well, that is great. Thank you so much. What's your name?
Catherine.
Catherine. Thank you so much and have a great rest of your day.
Thanks.
Okay. There's some questions here. Can we talk about how SCOTUS voted? SCOTUS is the Supreme Court, voted in favor of Republicans in Wisconsin. We're going to talk about that tomorrow when Preston comes on to talk about Amy Coney Barrett. How do you feel we should handle the outcome of the election should Trump win? I think we should continue to invest in communities and local organizing and state and local politics. If Trump wins and the Republicans hold the Senate, girl, we fucked, right? Like nationally, like we are fucked. Like, I don't know. I'm trying, as I said in the last live, I'm trying to reject fatalism. That's not helpful, but we do have to be honest about what is going to happen if Donald Trump remains the president and we have a super conservative Supreme Court and we have a Republican controlled Senate. It's over for your civil liberties, basically. But there's still lots of work that can be done at the local level, right? I had an event last night, and there was a lot of talk about mutual aid and how through mutual aid and investing in communities and, you know, investing in the idea that we have enough, right? Like we just need to, among ourselves, redistribute it and make sure that the people who are most marginalized get the care that they need, that we can kind of offset some of the horrible shit that the state does. Obviously, that's not going to be, you know, a panacea. That's not going to fix everything. But I do think that at this point in time, right, if the state is going to fail you, you have to create other avenues for sustaining yourselves. And for most of us, that's going to be our communities. Okay. Next question. Zendaya, that's how you pronounce it. Zendaya winning the Emmy for Outstanding Lead Actress for Drama Series. I really, really like Euphoria. And I thought Zendaya was really, really good in Euphoria. A way better actress than I thought she was. I'm going to be honest with y'all. I thought Zendaya was just cruising on the light skin and the wavy hair. I really did, until I watched Euphoria. And I was like, oh, this is a person who can act. Okay. So I'm okay with it. Black films coming out in 2020. I don't know. Don't know about that. Do you know the percent you get for our donations with badges? 100%. Yeah. So Instagram is trying to incentivize creators to use badges like over YouTube and Super Chats. So they're giving 100% of the money until next year. I've been thinking about what should be BLM's next steps after Biden gets in office. What do you think? I think that Black Lives Matter, like the organization or just like the idea. I do think that if Joe Biden gets elected, which I genuinely think, you know, knock on wood, I do think that Joe Biden is going to be elected. But I do think that there's going to be a lot of lobbying and pushing and whatever. And I think that the first steps are going to be about who he chooses to fill his cabinet. I think that there's been lots of rumors floating around. And I think that these are intentionally planted rumors to attract moderates to Joe Biden about, you know, him vetting conservatives, vetting Republicans to fill big cabinet positions. No. Okay. So if Joe Biden is elected, we need to make sure that we are pushing, lobbying, doing whatever needs to be done to know that we actually don't want, you know, we don't want a HUD secretary who's Republican. We don't want a Secretary of Education who's like conservative, like Secretary of Commerce. Like, we don't want that. Okay. Education. I mean, not education, what energy. We don't want a Department of Energy head who is conservative. Okay. Thoughts on the Democrats now that they have suffered another loss? Which loss are you talking about? I'm not sure. Okay. What do you think it would take to abolish the Electoral College constitutional amendment is what I think. Okay. More questions. How do you feel about the new political party Diddy is setting up, given he is Tamika's mentor? You know, how do I feel about this? Look, I am not, as I've said before, I'm not somebody who thinks that celebrities should shut up and vote. But I do think that these Black male celebrities in particular are not reading the room. They're not reading, period. But they're not reading the room, right? Like, BLM is organized the way that it is, with no leader, no person on a pedestal, no, face, like, for a reason, right? Like, we have learned in history that it is really, really easy to dismantle movements when the movements rely on one charismatic figurehead, particularly one, cisgender, straight, male, popular figurehead, right? It's really, really easy to dismantle that. We just let's learn, right? Let's learn from the past. And it's like, instead of following the lead of these women, reading Black feminist literature in particular, these men come to the table with old ideas, but try to present them as new and innovative ideas. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, well, if you would just invest in some learning, like invest in some real community work, then you would understand that what you are presenting is not actually a solution, right? It is a way for you to get some clout. It is a way for you to present yourself as some sort of savior of the Black community, but it is not actually a way for us to get the kind of liberation that we are seeking, right? I think that if something that should be clear at this point is, like I am so much about investing in community. I'm so much about investing in local organizing, local resources. I think that that is where your money, if you're going to invest money, like that's where it's going to be the best used. That's where we're really going to see change at this point. So this whole like, a Black party and all of that stuff. And then the other thing is like, people be talking about Black, but you don't mean all Black people. You're not considering like real intersectionality. Like you're not really considering like the diverse needs of Black folks. And it's also so centered on capitalism and buying up the block and all of that stuff. I just really I'm just not for it. I'm sorry. I'm just not, It's like, you really gonna trust, somebody worth like $1 billion to lead your political revolution? Like, really? That's how I feel about that. Okay. Hi.
Hi, Kim. First off, it's good to see you again. You visited my school like years ago, Muhlenberg College. So you're doing amazing. I just wanted to get your quick thoughts on HBO Max's Witches, and like what you thought of it, if you've seen it or like
I've not seen it. What is it about?
Okay. It's based on Roald Dahl's Witches, and it's like a reinterpretation with Octavia Spencer. But I don't know. I thought it was trash.
Well, what type of role is it? Because Octavia Spencer loves. Never mind. But like,
yeah. And the CGI is just like crazy. Like they have her talking to mice the whole time, and the dialogue is kind of sketchy. I don't know. I was like, I can't wait to see when you see it, if you choose to watch it, like what your thoughts are on it.
Okay, I'll check it out. What's your name?
Joyous.
Joyous, thank you so much. Have a good day.
You too.
Okay. Oh, so somebody's saying the witches explored African spirituality. Oh, talking about Diddy, who has exploited his artists. That's another thing. Like, you gonna be out here talking about you leading Black people when you have not made amends for the egregious and like overt ways that you have exploited up and coming artists over the past 20 years? Like, come on. Like, wasn't Mace just calling Diddy out like 6 months ago? Like, what's going on? I just think that we can do better, and we can do more. And there are so many activists and organizers. And I understand that, that people like Ice Cube, people like Diddy, people like Charlemagne feel like they are using their enormous platforms for good, right? To push Black people forward. But it just feels so self-congratulatory. It feels like it's so rooted in self-aggrandizement, And like that really is a turnoff for me as somebody who really embraces a different kind of politic, I just think that we're done with that. We're off that, like that's an old school way of trying to approach the betterment of Black people and uplifting Black folks. And it just is not appropriate for 2020. Okay, sorry. I'm trying to, it says that there's another, oh, how do you manage to stay positive when things seem so hopeless? What gives you strength? As a white woman, well, I don't have strength. I want to say that anytime somebody white talks about strength, I have to reject it. I'm not strong. But I do realize, as so many Black women now and in the past have realized, that the work has to get done. Right? So like, as I mentioned, I cry all the time. I cried yesterday because the world is horrible and cruel. Okay. So not strong. But I realized that, like, as I said to somebody earlier, who, if we don't do the work, who gonna do the work? Right? We recognize at this point that the other side, the right, ultra conservatives, are so organized and they are so effective. The swearing in of Amy Coney Barrett last night represents decades of organizing, hundreds of millions of dollars of fundraising, right? Like, whoever came up with the Federalist Society, I can't remember. I've read a couple of articles about the Federalist Society, and like the group of people who came up with the Federalist Society at Cornell, that's where it was founded. Their fucking dreams came true 30 years later. I'm 31 years old, right? So it's like, if they can invest in the long haul, if they can write the vision and make it plain and map it out step by step and execute, then we can do the same shit. That's how I stay positive. Okay. Which Black actresses / actors deserve more Oscar caliber roles? Okay. I'm okay with the mix of entertainment questions. Whatever happened to Trevante Rhodes? The fine man from Moonlight? Whatever happened to him? I feel like I don't see him in a lot of stuff. I like him. I don't know. He came to my mind because he's really attractive. But other like women, young women, Black women who deserve more Oscar caliber roles. I don't know. Yeah, Viola Davis, but Viola Davis has an Oscar. The Birkin bag convo. We have to I don't really want to just talk about the Birkin bag combo. Like, we've done with that. Sorry, I'm trying to look through your perspective on P-Valley. It was so good. I thought P-Valley was good. I don't know if it was so good, but it was good. I really loved the actor who played Uncle Clifford. Loved Mercedes. I thought there were some issues, but I thought it was good. Have you ever heard of or watched ContraPoints? She's a YouTuber who I think does good work. I really like ContraPoints. How do you think progressives / leftists can be more organized and actually move things on a state, local, and ground level? I don't know I don't think that there's a lack of organization. I just think that there's also a lack of numbers and financial support. When I was doing all of my reading about how we got to an Amy Coney Barrett, it really just struck me that there is so much money in Republican politics. And when you have so much money, you can do a fucking lot, you can do so much. And I do think that leftist politics are undercapitalized. I know we all want to talk about, George Soros and, all that anti-Semitic shit, about him, but it's still not even holding a candle. But I do think that if we were able, and the thing is, so something that we do have to embrace and something that we should feel heartened by is that leftist ideals, progressive ideas are actually popular. people want universal health care. People want worker protections. Like, people want maternity or parental leave, right? And all of this sort of stuff that has been deemed progressive or leftist. Like, nobody actually wants the climate to, like, we don't want the West Coast to burn every single year. We want New Orleans to be a thing, right? So it really just is about the organizing, right? Like getting the votes in, like making voting more accessible, getting the messaging right. I just think it's so possible. And I will say, you know, I live in Texas now, and there's so much conversation about Texas, and there's been so much conversation about Georgia. This is where we get to the positive part of the positive part of the program. There's so much conversations about these states that were Republican strangleholds. Republican strongholds is the word that I was looking for. Just deep red, you know, just, you know, you could just count on them to be red forever. That's changed. You know, I think Texas today was classified as a toss-up state, you know, if we're talking about the presidential election. And that has changed because over the past 4 years, there's been so much work on the liberal side, on the progressive side, of getting people to invest in electoral politics, of registering people, right? And so the fruits of that labor, we might not necessarily see the fruits of that labor this year. We might not see it until 2022 or 2024, but we are absolutely on the way to the electoral outcomes catching up with the demographics. And I absolutely believe that Republicans see that. That's why they are so fucking desperate. Like I mentioned in my conversation with Preston, all of this stuff that we are seeing on the right is just desperation. You look fucking, it's sad. Like, it's so sad because they understand that there's only so much time that they can do this. You know, and even Mitch McConnell said it himself a couple of days ago on the Senate floor. You know, all of the stuff that Donald Trump has done over these past 4 years can be undone. It can be undone legislatively. It can be undone electorally. But what can't be undone are the judges. You know, like that stuff, like judges are here to stay. And that's why they are, you know, they're packing the courts, right? That's why they're swearing Amy Coney Barrett in at 9:00 at night, you know, like on the White House front lawn. Because they understand that they don't really have the numbers to sustain their power. So things are going to change. Okay. Trying to catch up with these comments. Okay. People have called in. Hi.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am fantastic. Let me tell you, these Republicans, as I call them, have absolutely positively lost their mind. It seems to me that they have absolutely sold their soul to the devil to get power and to be in charge. And it seems as if they are willing to watch this country come apart at the seams in order to get what they want, in order to stuff their pockets, in order to pack the courts, like you're saying, in order to, you know, to get these judges in order to dismantle. Trump's obsession with Obama is absolutely ridiculous. We are watching the death throes, if you will, of white supremacy. We are watching the Karens, if you will, the Karens who are the great granddaughters of the Miss Anns of the plantation lose their absolute minds at the thought that they're not going to be in charge. And we are watching an empire begin to crumble, as they all do. And unfortunately, right, the burning ashes and the stones of this capitalistic, misogynistic, sexist, racist empire is falling on the backs of those who can least afford to take it. And that is so problematic. That is the real issue, is those who can least afford to bear the brunt of the crumbling of this empire are the ones who are bearing the cost between Black and brown bodies being frontline workers, not able to afford health care, not able to afford childcare, can't put their kids through school in the midst of this global pandemic that is killing folks, people not willing to wear masks, screaming about their rights. I mean, we are literally in the death throes.
Yeah.
And folks don't have the vision to see it. Yeah. And that is what the problem is. They are willing to sacrifice themselves on the altar of white supremacy and capitalism. And the other problem is that poor white folks can't see it. Your grandmother and your parents who need oxygen, you might as well pull the tank and throw it out the window, right? Because you're willing to sacrifice them, right? Because you're so afraid that poor brown and Black people might get health care, that your very livelihood is tied up into that. We are all in this together. Either we're going to work together or we're going to die together, right? Yeah. And then I'll say this last thing about Black women. Look, I don't know about y'all, but this Black woman right here, I am tired. I am tired of saving white folks from themselves. I am tired of consistently being called on to save this democracy from itself. It seems as if we are being asked to get the wayward children back in line. And I don't know about you, but I'm tired. I'm so tired.
Yes.
So,
Thank you so much, Dr. Michelle. Michelle is your name?
Yes.
Okay, I just remembered. Okay, I'm glad. Thank you so much.
You're amazing. Thank you for this platform. You're amazing. You're awesome. You're beautiful. You're great. Keep doing what you do.
Thank you so much. Have a good rest of your day. Bye.
Darling, bye.
Yeah, it sucks. Oh, wait. I accidentally pressed something, y'all. Wait. How do I get this off? I accidentally pressed the share a photo thing. Tapping a photo. Wait, tap this. Oh, God, Jesus. Now I'm old. I'm old on Instagram. Wait, come on. Get off. How do you get it off, you guys? Okay, wait. It's not letting me. How do you tap it away? I don't know how to. It's not. Oh, wait. Sorry. I accidentally tapped the show a picture button, and I don't know how to use that button, and then it showed me a thing, and I thought, I am 80 years old. Okay, let's keep going. Okay. Okay, next person. Sorry. Okay, they declined. Hi.
Hey, Harriet. Kim.
Hi, how are you doing?
Doing well. I wanted to comment on something that you said about leftist ideas being popular. I do agree, and I don't have to agree because statistically it's proven, because it is, I think, the reason why we have gerrymandering in the way that we have gerrymandering. It is why voter suppression is a thing from the right and not the left. And so when you have the Republican parties, where their platform is primarily poorly paying non-union jobs represent freedom to some extent, and that lack of health care is somehow liberty, and not wanting regulation when it comes to food and the drug industry. It makes absolutely no sense that they would be what people want. Right? And so they're very organized, and I agree, in the way that they go about maintaining and obtaining power. That is through a ton of money. I forgot the name of the case, but that made corporations into legal persons and therefore able to spend a lot of money, not only in everyday life, but in politics, particularly in politics. And the control of politicians through corporate spending has made it very difficult for grassroots movements to control politicians and people being elected into office. And so I heard you talking kind of about the FedSoc, the Federalist Society. And one of the things that I had a bunch of friends who I found out later in life became a part of the Federalist Society. We are no longer friends. But the kind of campaigning they do on law school campuses to get people involved is ridiculous. Like, they will give out scholarships and money in the way that no other organization can because they're so well funded. Oh, sorry, I thought you were saying something. And so I understand now, I'm not American, well, now I am, but when I came here, I didn't understand just how much like a banana republic, I hate that phrasing, the American government actually runs in terms of how Citizens United, someone said. That is for corporate spending, though. The case is for corporate spending. That it is so similar to a banana republic in the way that politicians are being influenced, and we've legally allowed politicians to be bought through lobbying group. Makes no sense to me. So I just heard you say that, and I wanted to add my voice to that. And to the lady that was before me, I forgot her name. Dr. Michelle. Completely agree with her with one small caveat. I do think white America knows what it's doing. I do think fundamentally the people who are poor white Americans understand that they are putting themselves up at, like, healthcare should be a human right, right? It is a human right. Not wanting it doesn't make sense. They understand what it is that they're doing, and they're willing to sacrifice themselves and their family in order to prove a point concerning racial superiority in some ways. And it's such a fascinating thing to me because it makes absolutely no sense. And even the conversations about celebrity involvement in politics, I'm fully on board with you in terms of, I don't mind, I don't care. You can advocate what you want, but educate yourself first. Be involved in learning, meaningful learning, before you start telling people kind of how to go about voting, when to withhold voting, and things of the sort, because I think even if it's not ill intent, it is so dangerous to start giving instruction to people who follow you when you don't understand that which you're involved in. So I think that's it. I think my mind is going now, but I think that's pretty much all I had.
Thank you, Andrew. I appreciate it. Have a good day.
You too.
Okay. More questions. Let's see. Is that a shirt or a dress? It's a shirt. I should say, do you think Americans understand now how precarious the health of democracy can be? Do I think that they understand now? Honestly, we'll see. I'm going to be honest with you. Like, we will see. I think more and more Americans are understanding the importance of participating. Like, we have seen crazy, crazy voter turnout. I mean, crazy is an ableist slur. We've seen really exceptional voter turnout in so many places where Republicans have intentionally closed voting sites and made it much more difficult for people of color and poor people and students to vote. And so I do think that there is a real reaction to the rigging that we see. I do think that people understand increasingly that participation is important, that we have to fight back. But, you know, I'm saying all this now, you know, I would feel much more sure in making declarations if I knew who was going to win the presidential election. Okay. More questions. Thoughts on the movie Antebellum? No. It wasn't right. It wasn't. I thought Janelle Monáe looked beautiful in it, but it wasn't. It wasn't. Okay, more questions. Did we talk about J-Lo N-word thing? Who gets to gatekeep? If J-Lo is saying the N-word, then she needs to not. Like, the Birkin bag conversation. I went on an extended thing about the Birkin bag conversation on yesterday on Patreon. But what I'll say is, we need to stay out of rich people's business. You know what I'm saying? Like, why are we having debates about Birkin bags in a pandemic? Like, what the fuck is happening? And I will also say that rich people need to leave us alone. Okay? It's a pandemic. Like, people are broke. I actually just recently saw a study. Obviously, the percentage of impoverished people has gone up in the United States since the start of the pandemic. I just saw some data that said now 1 in 4 Black people live below the poverty line. And below the poverty line is a household of 4 making $25,000 a year. Like, people are suffering. You know what I'm saying? People are dying. And even before the pandemic, Black people didn't really have no money. We don't have wealth. We don't generally have a lot of income. I shared on my Twitter feed an infographic about Black people and household income. Honestly, y'all, it's like 93% of Black people live in households that make less than $150,000 or something like that. Like, we don't have no money to even be talking about $10,000 bags, right? So that's stupid. And I do think that celebrities showing off their 20 Birkins look bratty. It looks really out of touch. Read the room. I'm going to say celebrities again. Read the fucking room. But with regards to Sweetie is a rich, famous, beautiful lady, and she gets to demand whatever she wants of her rich, famous partner. Okay? So if millionaire Sweetie wants to demand that millionaire Quavo pay for everything and buy Birkin bags, fine, right? It makes, but that conversation does not trickle down for the rest of us. Now, the conversation that can trickle down from the rest of us is, what is your male partner doing to invest in you? Emotionally, psychologically, if he can, financially, right? Is he making it clear that he thinks that you are worthy of investment? Now, that's a regular people conversation. Okay. We don't need to be talking about Birkin bags. We don't need to be talking about men paying for everything and taking on yachts and charter flights. It's not realistic. It's not relatable. Not if you're dating Black men, Sweetie. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. What we can say is use what you got to get what you want. Right. Right. What I can say is, are you making it clear to me that you want to be here? Because I'm very progressive in many, many ways, but I do think it is important, if you partner men, that they invest, right? I use the words emotional collateral, financial collateral. You got to put some skin in the game if you want to get with me. Okay, that's all we're going to say about that. Let's move on. Next person, let's see if you answer.
Kim, hey, how are you?
Hi, how are you?
I wanted to talk about the Republican Party's evident attack on how we're educating. I don't know. I mean, you've probably seen the GOP being like, we should put American exceptionalism, as if it's not already on the course curriculum. But I realized this, I think there was somebody else who was talking about poor people are being taught that they're not poor, they're just pre-rich, and it only works out because you're poor in a rich country. Poor people in poor countries think they're poor.
Yeah.
But people in rich countries are like, bootstraps only work out if somebody has fake boots, But if you don't have fake boots, it doesn't work. And I feel like there's this general, almost purposeful way of trying to re-educate the people, and that may be an actual attack on the education system. But I feel like maybe Republicans just know how to mix the Kool-Aid a bit better. And for that case, I feel like the reason that they have a really glossy sheen on them. And therefore, I'm wondering, is there a way, and I'm not about converting conservatives. I just don't know if it's going to happen. But as you were talking about with your, before, there might be that white lady who's, in her husband's house being like, I wonder if, I feel like there's a bit of re-education but if you want to become a person in the left, you almost have to re-educate yourself from being conservative. And that's a very large system before you even get to the point of like trying to fix the problems. You have to kind of unlearn the idea of the American dream. You have to unlearn the idea that there's bootstraps. You have to unlearn the fact that there's actual inequality. It's almost, I feel like the Republicans are capitalizing on the system, that fact that it's harder to try and think about other people. So why not just say, let's think about yourself, because it's not us problem. It's not a general systematic problem. It's we're rich. You just haven't figured it out yet.
Yeah.
And I wonder, I think it's getting worse. I think now it's not just we're rich. You haven't figured it out yet. It's like these guys are purposely trying to be poor. And that's the new education system, is telling people they're trying to stay poor on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how one unlearns a version of that.
I don't know either,
get what
girl.
I'm trying to...
I don't know. I'm with you. I don't know how to undo it. I just think that individualism, I mean, like this kind of pattern plays out. It's played out before historically, but it also plays out all over the world, right? Like where the people, rich conservatives who have the most power are able to exploit messages of you deserve this and whatever for the struggling white populace. Like, I don't know how to I don't know. But poor white people in the United States are doing what poor white people in the US have done before, and what poor people are doing in, I don't know. I don't want to name countries because I might actually name them wrong. But
for example, I'm currently in the UK. We're currently having this whole fight system about giving poor kids food to eat.
Yeah.
And it suddenly became this whole it's not about should white children, we're talking about white children now, not even like other children over PSC. Should white children get food? And the conservatives are giving us maybe white mothers should work harder. And then they can have and somehow the conservative base of poor people are like, yeah, maybe I should work harder.
Yeah,
and
that's interesting.
So, and as if the child is like, oh, well, now I have to figure it out. It's become a weird thing where I feel like conservatives have taught people like children, they don't need food. And I can't quite get to that dissonance, but I feel like it's a double-edged sword. If you know the dissonance, you see how hard it is. But if you're drinking the Kool-Aid, you're like, of course it's my problem. Yeah. I am to blame. I am the poor. Yeah. And I don't know. I don't
know, girl. Yes, thank you so much. What's your name?
Rue.
Rue, thank you so much for calling in. Have a good day.
You too.
I don't know. Look, I believe that everybody is able of learning and evolving and transforming. But it's like, did y'all see that clip that's going around of Jared Kushner talking about Black people? Like he was like, we want to help Black people, but we can't want them to do better more than they want themselves to do better. Like I truly feel that way about poor white people. You know what I'm saying? Like people who don't want Obamacare because people who don't want the Obamacare that they need, and that would save their lives because they know that Black people benefit from that. What do you do with that? I don't know what you do with that. Okay. Have you been rewatching Girlfriends like everyone else? Has your view of the characters updated? I have not been rewatching Girlfriends. I do know that when I was a kid, I was a big fan of Tony Childs. I don't care. Judge me. I don't care. So I probably would have a different reaction and response as a grown person. But no. How does the left address the Democrat but conservative group of Black people like our parents? I think that, I don't know. I just think that these conversations because like I've said so many times, there are lots and lots of conservative, small c conservative Black people. There are not a lot of big C conservative Black people because the Republican Party is racist. Now, of course, I'm not the first person to say that. Everybody should read The Loneliness of the Black Republican by Leah Wright Rigueur. Really interesting book. But like, I don't know, because it's like Black people have also embraced ideas of individualism. Black people have also embraced ideas of, you know, who deserves what, you know, classism, capitalism, and all of that kind of stuff. But I do think that like a sustained investment in having really hard conversations is important. So I don't think that we can just be like, well, you know, they believe what they believe and leave it at that. That's just not going to get us where we need to. I think, you know, challenging people. But girl, I don't know. We were talking about Lovecraft Country earlier. Any thoughts? I really don't have any thoughts on Lovecraft Country, mainly because I don't understand it. Legit. Other than the episode about Hippolyta, or was it Hippolyta? Hippolyta, is that how you pronounce the name? Other than that episode, I truly don't understand Lovecraft Country. I don't know what it was about. I wouldn't be able to summarize it. But y'all liked it, and I'm happy for you. What do you think about the ADOS movement? I'm going to go ahead and pass on that question, but thank you so much for asking. Okay. Okay. Oh, somebody, Hippolyta. Hi.
Oh, hello. Hi. I'm so excited to be here. Yeah, so I love your work, love everything you do. And sorry, I just want to give a few comments regarding the Amy Coney Barrett confirmation, because I find it so interesting that at least the older generation of Democrats don't necessarily have the same cunning strategy that I see on, unfortunately, the conservative side. And someone was mentioning the Federalist Society before, and I have friends in law school, and they mentioned how there is no progressive equivalent to that. So that same type of strategy in terms of trying to like groom people to become Supreme Court justices, you don't see that on the other side. In addition, there's a really interesting article in The Atlantic, and it talks about in 2016, when Merrick Garland was trying to be nominated and the Republicans blocked that all the way through, the Democrats tried to change, basically they changed the filibuster vote, and they changed it so that you could get less Senate votes in order to confirm like a kind of senior member or a judge.
You're talking about the nuclear option, and yes, I think that the nuclear option was changed in 2013. So
2013, yes.
Yeah, so Republicans were filibustering, right? Like basically making it impossible for Obama to do anything.
Exactly. And then
so they changed the rules, and that shit came back.
The Democrats did that. Exactly. The Democrats put a hand in trying to change that. Mitch McConnell even said, you know, you guys are going to regret this. And so I just feel like on the Democrat side, I don't see, or even on the left side, there doesn't seem to be like strategy in trying to combat what, at the end of the day, Republicans are going to be Republicans, like someone was saying. But I get disappointed in that hindsight and that foresight. And I think the same conversation with court packing also brings like that hesitancy. But yeah, so that was just something on the side that I was thinking about. And then totally different, but I just had a question in terms of your thoughts on like this idea of an exodus. I've read articles about it. I think kind of returning back to ideas of James Baldwin and Josephine Baker have been interesting in terms of this idea of leaving the U.S. and kind of creating identity outside of the racism of the U.S. And I see that for people now, there seems to be a movement, or there seems to be at least an exploration into that. But I'm curious to know your thoughts.
So I think that this is really tricky. I know in particular, I've seen a lot of people talking about moving to like Black countries, like, you know, West Africa.
Right.
I've seen a couple of people who say that they want to move to the Caribbean. But it's like, if that's what you want to do, that's fine. I have a huge family. And I have a big community, and I'm deeply rooted in that community. And I don't ever want to feel like I am abandoning those people because everybody is not going to be able to participate in an exodus. I do kind of feel in some way like it is kind of the responsibility of Black folks who have, and everybody doesn't feel this way, it's whatever, but I do think that if you have mobility, if you have resources, that it is kind of your responsibility to kind of like stay and fight and like not sacrifice the people who don't have that mobility and who don't have that privilege and access to like the powers that be, just because you can get away
to it, right?
Yeah. And so I don't really want to participate in that. I also think that other nations have their issues. Like, I do think that some of this is rooted in an idealism that doesn't really comport with reality. We are seeing right now, first of all, #InSARS. Right. We are seeing right now what is happening all across the continent of Africa. It's not just happening in Nigeria. There's all sorts of issues there. So there is no Black utopia where we run away and everything is peachy keen. There is elitism and corruption and investment in white supremacy everywhere. I also think, you know, if we're going to talk about European nations, like European nations also treat Black people like shit. They treat their Black immigrants like shit. And I've said elsewhere that, like, if I move to France and they treat me better, it is because I have an American passport. It is because I am associated with American imperialism. And that would not make me feel good either. So like, I get it. I really, really understand it. I just don't think that there are any wonderful, like,
right. Like, there's no utopia. It's not necessarily greener on the other side.
Yeah.
No, thank you. Again, appreciate your work.
Thank you. What's your name?
Joanna.
Joanna, thank you so much. Have a good day.
Thank you. It's nice to meet you.
You too. Bye-bye. Okay, we're done with the lives. Did I get through all the questions? Yes, I did. That means that we are finished. Thank you guys so much. I will put this up again on the Patreon, patreon.com/forharriet, and I will talk to you later.